Republic of the Marshall Islands Maritime Administrator and the Critical Items Checklist. The Republic of the Marshall Islands Maritime Administrator has noted an increase in the number of ships being detained while calling in United States, U.S. ports. Good ships manned by good and well-qualified crews are getting detained for easily preventable deficiencies. Some simple deficiencies that are actually corrected on the spot with port state control officials still result in the detention of a ship include blocked or disconnected quick-closing valves, life rafts not able to float free due to being improperly connected or tied off, even after just being serviced, hypermiss system in the manual mode or turned off, covered or blocked fire or smoke detectors, as well as CO2 nozzles, failure of the crew to properly perform a fire or abandoned ship drill, failure of the enclosed space entry or rescue drill, enclosed space entry and rescue drills not current or up to date, inoperable emergency fire pump, inoperable emergency generator, inoperable rescue or lifeboat engine, chief engineer or engineering crew unable to successfully test the oily water separator or oil content meter, inoperable fixed gas detection systems, and inoperable inert gas generating system. Tank ships have even requested a certificate of compliance examination, knowing that the inert gas generator was not working properly. However, since the ship was using flue gas, it was not reported and was not listed as a statutory item by the Classification Society. These tank ships were detained for this reason, even though they were not using the inert gas generator. There was also a recent detention where the senior shipboard personnel had erroneously verified that the items on the checklist were completed and submitted this to the administrator. However, the quick closing valve was blocked when the U.S. Coast Guard went on board, which resulted in an immediate detention. A port state control detention on any one of the items on the critical items checklist can be prevented if the ship's master reports the inoperable equipment or the known equipment failure prior to the vessel arriving in a U.S. port. The purpose of the critical items checklist is to ensure masters, chief engineers, crew, and vessel superintendents physically verify these items prior to arrival in a U.S. port. All Marshall Islands ships calling in any U.S. port or its territories shall verify compliance with critical national and international standards of safety, security, and environmental protection by completing the critical items checklist prior to arrival in a U.S. port. The master and chief engineer shall verify each item on the checklist, sign and submit it to inspections@register-iri.com. This checklist may be found as Annex 1 of Marine Notice 5-034-5. Personnel on all Marshall Islands ships calling at U.S. ports have been submitting the critical items checklist. However, it has not always accurately reflected the status of critical items, and this failure to accurately verify the items on the checklist has led to an unsafe condition on board a vessel and a resultant port state control detention by the U.S. Coast Guard. It is imperative that a ship's crew monitor the condition of these critical items even after the critical items checklist has been submitted and while in transit to a U.S. port. Failure to follow these guidelines could lead to a detention by the U.S. Coast Guard. Please remember to list any non-operational equipment not otherwise addressed in the critical items checklist. If not applicable, none or nil, please indicate this. Adverse actions may be taken against an officer's license by the administrator for failure to report a problem where required. The administrator may levy fees for violation of the marine notice and may take action against seafarers that have submitted a false or inaccurate report of the critical items checklist. The Marshall Islands is the only major flag to remain on the U.S. Coast Guard's Qual Ship 21 list. This is not only a direct result of the Administrator's proactive approach to maritime safety, security, and environmental protection, but also the result of the attention that crews on Marshall Islands flagged vessels are giving to the maintenance of the ship. The Administrator is aware that things do happen while at sea and remains available to assist in mitigating these issues prior to arrival at port. In order for the Administrator to assist, the critical items checklist must be accurately completed and submitted in a timely fashion. Maintain or get detained. You, the crew and operators, are the key to successful operations and port state control inspections.